Welcome back. Welcome to Millenia, for I am your host, the Millennium Mailman, here today. Be ye man, woman, child, spirit, creature, demon, be ye a native migrator or even an invader into these lands. I welcome you on this Theater Thursday, where we can dive in to the good stuff. The good stuff. Because today we are diving into this world tie-in that I have for the S.C.P universe, right? Where if you don't know what SCP-001, the spiral path in Wisconsin is, go ahead, look it up, and then come back. Look up what the spiral path SCP-001 in Wisconsin is, and then come back. Now that you know what that is, I'm going to give my tie-in and explain it in this theatrical cinematic way so that you know exactly how any and everything makes sense for the SCP's anomalies, the SCP anomalies to be rising up and popping up left and right within this universe. Right? Gosh. So, one thing I'm naturally doing off the bat, I'm not calling it SCP-01, and I'm not necessarily going to be making its name the spiral path. Number one change right there is, instead of calling it the spiral path consistently, I'm going to give it the name of the endless, right? It's an endless path. It constantly goes up, it can constantly go down. So I'm calling it the endless for my own book copyright purposes, right? And in reference to the endless, a man discovers, lo and behold, an anomaly and reports it to the ignorance division. That's basically like their FBI here in this universe. Their secret intelligence, keep it private. So he reports it to my book's equivalent of the FBI, and the FBI and the CIA and all the bureaus of investigations and cypherpoles around the world are sitting here running tests on the endless when someone comes up with this theory on what's really going on about it. And we're like, oh, maybe it's just weird. Maybe it seems like maybe it's going to different dimensions. Maybe how far you move along this path determines how far a distance your dimension is going. There's always infinite possibilities, infinite realms, infinite dimensions, and infinite spaces in between, right? So what if this path you walk on, when you walk onto the path, what if every step you take correlates to how far from your original universe, and how far are you closer and bound to get onto the next universe, right? So you step on this path and you take one step forward, and then you just step off. Does that mean you could potentially be hopping one universe over? And if you were to take, like, I don't know, walk 1 mile down this road in the endless path, that you'd be like technically a mile away from your original universe. Is that it? So like, we just got to be precise about making sure however far you walk forward, you make sure you walk back, right? That makes sense. So we're going to test that by we're going to put you over there, and naturally we're going to tie you to a rope. Because sometimes we're conducting tests, we sent people over there, they come back out this path, and some things they're talking about and thinking about just isn't adding up. So what if when you walk on this path, you and all the versions of you across the multiverse are forced to be on this path at the same time? That makes sense. And every step you take shifts you a dimension over or something like that. So if you actually want to get out and end up in your proper timeline or whatever, in your dimension, you need to take the exact number of steps backwards in order to shift back to your dimension. So they're like, okay, I like it. So they get this universe's greatest and well-versed historian to go in, and they train him on how to perfectly retrace steps and like, hey, do this and that. We'll have other precautions to ensure that you perfectly retrace your steps to make sure that if this is possible and this is a viable theory, you will surely get back over here, right? It's like, okay. So they teach the historian this, they get a mock, they set their fail-safes, and the results are basically effectively conclusive. And they're like, yep, we just verified it. This anomaly of sorts is inconsequentially not too harmful because it is kind of like a dimension shifter, because it allows you to transverse dimensions, but unless your counterpart is also there, it's not going to do anything, and it's pretty much safe so long as you know the consequences to your actions when you're going in to the spiral path and when you come out. So it's like, yep, safe. So, but again, the theory is like the instant you enter every version of you across all the infinite possibilities of infinite universes, all of the versions of you where you exist happen to be walking into the spiral path at the very same time, right? And thus every universe that you exist does that. And if you don't perfectly enter and exit at the very same point, those other versions thus are also not being able to enter and exit at the same time, and would thus be shifted over to fill the gap of you who didn't step into to your proper universe on time and at the right time, right? Do. But if you shift corresponding universes to the left or to the right, getting into the next, they would thus confirm that they got the right historian. So they have the historian take a couple tests and quiz him. So in order to label it as conclusive and totally safe that their theory was right, they got the historian to take a few paper tests, like, okay, what are the biggest major events that happened in this universe in the past 3 days before you walked in? Okay. And name 3 minor things that you recall writing down on that sheet of paper over there in the corner. What are 3 extremely minor things that happened here in the world? And I want coordinates for those things. Name 3 extremely minor things, right? He passes it. Okay. Woo! This is totally our guy. This, that, and the third, right? So they confirm that SCP-001 is totally safe. It's absolutely fine. So they do that after giving him like his paper exams and whatnot. And time goes by, and the historian is effectively perpetually haunted by this random intrusive thought that came to his mind, that as a theory, because something just didn't feel right. He was fine for the first few days, and then something so small kind of weaseled its way into his mind as an insecurity that turned into a theory, that turned into I'm not sure I can handle the truth right now, but I need answers, and it's no real way to verify. Because this intrusive thought of his, this theory, isn't something he can necessarily actually confirm or disprove, right? So it's just taking that same theory to the utmost maximum, right? Where #infinity with infinite alternate universes. What if the moment you step on the path, the universe you were just a part of becomes a closed door that you can never enter back into, because there's quite literally an infinite number of possibilities for you to go to next, right? What if, because of the infinite number of possibilities, it is quite literally impossible for you to go back, because it is pretty impossible for you to time the very molecules alignment that you stepped in on? Like, say you're walking through, cool. The distance between molecules, if we enlarge it this far, if you walked in here, the molecules could be this far apart, right? If you don't perfectly walk in on that same molecule that you did walking in, if you don't walk out on that same molecule, your universe is closed, dude. Right? What if I am not actually in the universe that I exited from? Because just a small difference with that infinite alternate universes. What if the moment you step on the path, what if your universe of origin is permanently locked away from you? And no matter what you do, you'll always thus be one molecule over, one atomic space away from home. So that one molecule over means that you'll pretty much be in a universe exactly the same, except for one molecule butterfly effect that made everything about that universe slightly different. So that would explain why the questions and answers he got and answered properly when he came out, despite how ridiculously exact they were exactly the same. But everything just feels wrong. Like, it's right, it's totally right, but it just feels wrong. Like, the cheese on my burger was a fraction of a milligram more than I remember it, because I'm exact and precise, right? This is the greatest historian. He remembers everything. And this brand of cheese that I normally put on my burgers is just a fraction of a milligram more than in mass or in weight than I remember. I don't know. Excuse me. What if the heartbeat of my wife is the same, but when I listened to her heartbeat, it made the butterflies in my gut go away like half a second faster than it normally does. And I enjoy the 2 seconds that listening to my wife's heartbeat, I enjoy that 2 seconds of butterflies it puts in my stomach. But ever since I went to the endless and came back and started listening to my wife's heartbeats again, it's just like half a second less than usual. And I don't know why, because I don't want to dare suggest and say that I love her any less, but it just like, I don't know. What if? Right? It just doesn't make my heartbeat flutter as much. But everything and everyone else is quite literally the same. The people are the same, the history is the same, everything. It's just those small things that are like, they sort of induce this like jinx, or that's probably not the word, this sense of dystopia, or there's a real particular word that's evading me right now. But I digress. What if the moment you step on the path, your own universe of origin is locked away from you, and it, depending on how far you go down this path, the things in this universe are just that much more and more different. The version of you in that universe, the this and that of that universe is just that much more different, right? So, making it thus a totally terrifying more so terrifying anomaly than what people may originally think of it to be. And that is only allowed, and thus makes it something that is thus only allowed to be guarded and overseen by the transmographs. If anything happens to the transmograph, they'll be fine. They can quite literally handle it, I'm sure. But that is such a overpowered kind of special anomaly ability for one thing to have, that we need overpowered people who can handle the pressure of being around that scary thing. So when the historian finally came clean about that intrusive thought consideration he had and those minor detail reasons, they're like, oh my gosh, yep, lock this base down. This entire land, all the property in a 1,000-mile radius is been awarded to the transmograph family. Absolutely not. Mr. McGaff, please put this place under lock and key. So that is the rather cutesy way of saying it. And the main part of the tie-in is that what if all the anomalous creatures that you end up finding, like SCPs, all around are actually the parallel universe equivalents of people who shifted that far over from their original universe. So let's say the historian here in this universe of origin went into the endless, decided to just jog this path for 2 hours and walked out. Okay? For him, he's going to walk over into another universe. But for us who stayed in this universe and never left, any other of the infinite versions of him could basically be finding their way back into our universe. So our historian went on the path and left, and the moment he got off, another version of him, I don't know, like S.C.P 069 S.C.P Shy Guy, S.C.P, I forget the digits on that guy, right? What if the version of him that correlates to those other SCPs and other universes ends up walking out instead of him because your actual original version is long gone? Oh no, he's blacklisted. He had the audacity to go into the endless. He will be endlessly tortured by the fact that he will never be coming home to you guys. But as a consolation prize, here is your new version of the historian. Right? It's got devil wings and horns on it. It's the same thing. It's quite literally their universe's equivalent to your historian, okay? It's like, it's a consolation prize. He didn't want to come back to you guys. It's cool. So, yes, that is the tie-in for all the SCPs, where all of these anomalies keep popping up. They popped up and they exist here in this universe because people naturally end up going into the endless, and people were going in and out of it long before we actually detected, oh my gosh, we should probably put that place under lock and key. And now that it's under lock and key, there are naturally people who want to play with fire and mess with this location under lock and key anyway. Such dummies. Right? Where it doesn't make any scientifically explainable or logical sense, but because it is interactive with this particular SCP, gosh darn it, that freaking blows. It's like, just one time you had one job. But hey, that's just me, and that's my SCP lore tie-in to my book. I think that is a rather decent way to do the tie-in without making just the inclusion a world-breaking phenomena. I think this tie-in allows it to make sense without ruin the continuity of SCP lore in Wikipedia, or the continuity of my book and the goals I have set while studying and researching as much as I can to be as inclusive as possible in my pursuit of diversifying the communities that my book can reach out to and resonate with. But yeah, that's just me. Like, comment, subscribe, or share the video for more exposure. Questions, comments, and concerns are down in that comment section down below. And of course, peace as always.